When the Elephant's Dance is a moving story of a group of Filipinos forced to stay in a cellar to escape the cruelty of the invading Japanese soldiers during World War II. We read from the perspective of three of these individuals, Alejandro, Isabel, and Domingo, as they deal with the circumstances. To pass the time, the residents of the cellar share the stories of their life and the morals that they learned. The whole novel is deeply rooted in Filipino culture and storytelling tradition.
Yeah, I really
I hated it! We're taking it to court.
Yeah, it was awful.
Order in the court! Test your eyes, Hoff. You stand accused of writing a terrible book by the National Administration of Good Books. What do you have to say for yourself?
Your Honor, there's been a mistake. I poured my heart and soul into this book.
Objection! Your Honor, I have never read a worse book. When I read through this book, I don't see any figurative language, I don't see any interesting characters, and I can't tell what the theme is. This book is a pile of garbage.
What he means is that it sucks.
Interesting. Defendants, what do you have to say for yourself?
Your Honor, these claims are absurd. Let's start with figurative language. There's plenty of metaphors, personification, similes, imagery, and anything you can think of.
Well, you're gonna need some evidence to prove that.
The first example is personification. On page 43, it says, I shivered at all the flavors assaulting me. Flavors can't assault people. That's clear personification. As for metaphor, the opening line of the book says, when the elephants dance, the chickens must be careful. In this case, the elephants represent the Japanese and the Americans, and the chickens represent the smaller countries. As for simile, on page 99, it reads, he has grown suspicious and watched me like an eagle waiting to swoop on a monkey. And then an excellent example of imagery is on page 12. He watches me as I am stung with the wires. There are sharp edges in various parts. They slice through my skin and make me gasp, then scream. As for tone, there's an example that says, I don't know where to go. Home is the only place I know. And this is clear hopelessness. There you go, Your Honor.
But what about character development? Judge, let's take Tay Frederico, for example. If Holt was a real author, she would have shown his transition from a spoiled aristocratic brat to a man who understands that wealth doesn't determine the worth of a person. And she would have masterfully shown this transition through his budding romance with a peasant girl. But she didn't do any of that.
Your Honor, she did do that, and so much more. Take Domingo, for example. There was a consistent internal conflict with this dynamic character. One side of him wanted to be with his family, and the other wanted to lead the rebellion. This infiltrated the plot and the overall development of the story. Your Honor, you must see that the defendant incorporated plenty of character development that interacted perfectly with the plot. There were even static characters like Alejandro who stuck to their morals throughout the story. For these reasons, I strongly urge the charges to be dropped.
This is all compelling evidence, my friend. But you must show me the theme before I set thee free.
Your Honor, I'll tell you what the theme is. It all ties back to the title of the book. When we are faced with circumstances we can't control, when the elephants dance, you have to be unwavering in your beliefs. But she portrayed the theme horribly.
Not true, Your Honor. This theme was shown by two prime characters, Domingo and Alejandro. In Domingo's time of trial, he didn't stick to his morals and ended up deciding to lead a rebellion. This ultimately led him to lose his family. On the other hand, Alejandro held on to his morals and beliefs, and in the end, his circumstances were much better.
Silence! I'm calling a 5-minute recess!
Hey, so, I think I'm starting to agree with the other team, the other side.
What? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I really like Holt's style. I mean, not only does she switch between three characters' point of view throughout the novel, but anytime a character tells a story, she switches the story to their point of view. This gives the stories depth and ultimately enriches the reading experience of the novel.
Are you kidding me? I don't want to hear a word of this back in the courtroom. I've got a big promotion coming from the Honorary Good Books Corporation if I win this case. Hey, that's the judge. We gotta get back in there.
I think I've almost made my decision. Holt, do you have any last words?
This book not only represents tradition and history of the Philippine culture, but also includes literary devices, multiple character development, and the overall theme of the book has an everlasting effect on the reader. I rest my case.
People of the court! I've been a judge for 57 years. And in all that time, I've never had a case quite like this one. Both sides made compelling points, but in the end, because the story adequately pays respect to the time period in Philippine culture, through complex characters and figurative language, I find Tessuriza Hulf not guilty of all charges.
Yeah! Yeah!
Everybody put your hands in the air! This is the police!